Knicks have showed interest in Jason Kidd to fill in their head coaching vacancy. In 2020, Kidd was part of the group that interviewed for the Knicks job before it went to Thibodeau. Interesting. The Knicks fired former head coach Thibodeau just days after falling to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. He was the winningest coach, in franchise history. All right, JWill, we're running it back. You're a fresh voice here.
Okay, all right. Why are you taking such a deep breath?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I had to jump up in the chair and it took a lot of strength. Some people are hot girl summer, some people are on thick girl summer, so it's been a while. Okay, which is the more appealing job, Knicks or Mavs?
What is happening here? Oh my God. Look.
I haven't been to the gym in a while, Jay. Go ahead. Carry on. That's
Perk,
the
help
point.
me. Perk, help me.
Well,
help me.
Go
One
ahead.
of us don't mind. You know
Go
what I'm saying?
ahead. Go ahead. Jay, just go ahead. All right, let's go. Go ahead.
All right.
I almost couldn't get in the chair. Go ahead, okay? That's what it was.
What was the damn question more?
All right, Jay,
I got it now. I got it.
The Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie's going to be healthy. Anthony Davis will be back there, and they're going to get Cooper Flag. Remember how that all played out? So is the Dallas Mavericks job better than the New York Knicks? And we don't know what the Knicks are going to do.
I would say for Jason Kidd it is. I would say for Jason Kidd and his personality and who I've known him to be, I'm not sure New York ain't for everybody. And look, J. Kidd played here in New Jersey. I get it. Lived in the city, loves the city. Obviously, has a great relationship with a lot of people here in the New York area. I think the Dallas team is a better team than the New York Knicks.
Okay.
And I get the fact that the East is wide open. I don't know, honest. I don't know what other assets the Knicks can bring to the table. I'm sure Jason Kidd would have a huge say in that with Leon Rose and World Wide West. But KP and SA, I'm looking at the makeup of the Dallas Mavericks. You talk about them getting Kyrie Irving back, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, the bigs that they have, the versatility that they have. And I understand that the West is loaded. But if you're J. Kidd, I'm staying put. I'm right here. Look, I got no one for you. SA. No income tax. Number one, keep your money in your pocket. Keep your money in your pocket. Number two, I got a lot of weapons I can play with. And I know the East, I don't know what I'm dealing with. And look, I like the Knicks. The Knicks is a great opportunity. But why am I leaving a wizard in the game of basketball? Why am I leaving a sharpshooter? Why am I leaving somebody that can get me 20 and 15 every night or every other night, even if it's there to get to the playoffs with other additional pieces to get me there? I'm staying my ass right in Dallas. I ain't going nowhere. It's Dallas.
Go ahead, Perk.
It's not even close. I'm with JWill.
Yeah,
it's the Mavs. Look, the Mavs are set up not only to win now, because with this roster, with no moves being made for its trades, they would be the top 2 seed, the number 2 seed behind the Oklahoma City Thunder going into next season, hands down. Then you add Cooper Flag. You don't get a Cooper offer. And then you're talking about a guy, how old is he, 19 years old?
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy that's 19 years old.
As a freshman.
That's ready to play now at a championship level. So now he comes in and he don't have to be the man. He can take his time and grow because you have Kyrie Irving, you have Anthony Davis. And then when Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, when they time run up, you built for the next 10 years with this guy as your franchise player. So absolutely, if I'm J. Kidd, I'm staying with the Mavs. I don't even entertain the Knicks, especially with Cooper Flag probably getting drafted to the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, in hour number one, I already articulated that I agree with the both of you. When you talk about Cooper Flag, National Player of the Year, that's Kevin Durant as a freshman, Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson, only 3 people in the collegiate history that were National Players of the Year as freshmen. So we know what Cooper Flag brings to the table. Here's what I would say. There's only one reason we're talking about the possibility of Jason Kidd coming to New York. New ownership in Dallas. It ain't Mark Cuban no more. And so now, if you have an owner in Dallas who you're not vibing with, and I know none of this. I didn't ask J. Kidd or Nico or anybody about this. I'm just speculating. But if you have a new ownership group and the impression is money, 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 as opposed to doing what it takes to win, if you got rid of Luka, and indeed that was a decision that came from up top that you didn't want. We don't know that's true. We've heard multitude of stories. We know that Nico Harrison's been taking most of the hits. What role did Jason Kidd play in that, or lack thereof? What cachet did he have in that decision being made, or lack thereof? You know that with Mark Cuban, you knew exactly where you stood. He had been there for ages. You knew where he stood, what he wanted, etc., what his expectations were. With the new group, it's a question mark. And so when I look at it from that standpoint, I hear Mark Cuban coming out saying he wouldn't have made the deal. When I see Don Nelson being honored by the Coaches Association and he's wearing Luka's new shoes and said that he did it just to make sure he brought awareness to the fact he didn't agree with the decision either. And we know what he's meant to the Dallas Mavericks franchise in the past. You get the impression that the ownership in Dallas might be more problematic than we've been led on to believe. So that's the only thing that would make sense, because from a basketball perspective, a Kyrie returning eventually, and Anthony Davis, a Lively, a Gafford being there, potentially a P.J. Washington as well, knowing that you got Cooper Flagg as the #1 overall pick, that's going to be the face of your franchise for the future, knowing all of that is in place, and to be thinking about departing for the New York Knicks, the only thing that makes sense to me is that ownership. Hey, I'm not bothered.
Gravedigger, I'm going to need you to hold that thought, because you got a very special list coming up.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Call me Gravedigger.
In on this, the Knicks are now conducting an active due diligence on Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd, among other head coaching candidates, in their search to replace Tom Thibodeau. The Knicks have yet to request permission to speak to Jay Kidd, who does have 2 years remaining on the contract extension he signed during the Mavericks' run to the NBA Finals last year. And so again, we touched on this earlier this morning, but I didn't have the win man, and now I do. Windy, what can you tell us about this situation with the Knicks and Jason Kidd?
Well, there's definitely a mutual intrigue between Kidd and the Knicks. I don't think Kidd has made any final decision yet, but just so you understand how this would potentially work, you don't ask permission to interview a coach who's with another team unless you intend to hire him. So really what's going to happen here is the ball is going to end up in the Mavericks' court, and they're probably going to have about 3 options. Number one, they can just say no and move on and say, we have him under contract for 2 more years. He's our coach. We'll see you in the fall. They could negotiate a new contract extension with Jason Kidd to make him forget about the Knicks' existence. They did just extend him last year on their run to the finals. Or they could demand compensation and basically trade Jason Kidd to the Knicks. Now, this has happened a handful of times over the last 15 years or so, including once with Jason Kidd, who was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Milwaukee Bucks in 2014. So there's a lot of balls in the air here, but this is obviously a serious candidate for the Knicks. It is now going to be up to the Mavericks about what they want to do.
So, JWill, if and we don't know all of the criteria